My name is Tylluan. I'm a solitary pagan witch. I'm an author and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. And I think that was one of the dog's stomachs rumbling then. So, he must be hungry. Anyway, today's little chat is about another Anglo-Saxon spell. Now, we did one a little while ago about the wen, the wart, the little lump. But today's one is more about how spells are built up, and it's using quite a famous spell against a stitch, it's often known as. I won't read it to you in Anglo-Saxon, but I read an English translation, which you can find online if you want. But the idea of this is, if you want to create your own spell, and if you're particularly drawn to a particular type of magic, it's nice to know the techniques of it. Now, the technique I'm going to introduce you to with this one is something called the narrative introduction. And when you read old spells sometimes, when I was young, I used to sit there and I used to think, what the heck were they on about? What were they doing? And it's only when you start to really study it, you realise it had a structure. It wasn't random. And the narrative introduction turns up in all sorts of spells, all over the place, all over the world probably. So I'm going to read you again a little bit from this one, because I think it'll explain what I'm talking about. I hope you enjoy it anyway, a little trip back into the Dark Ages. This one is against a sudden stitch, which could be any pain in the stomach. It could be anything, couldn't it, really, from the very serious to the totally trivial. But isn't it nice, even if it's hiccups or something, to feel you had a spell? So here we go. Loud were they, oh loud, when over the hill they rode. Infuriate were they when o'er the land they rode. Now shield thyself, that thou this onslaught may survive. Out, little spear, if herein you be. 'Neath linden I stood, a light shield beneath, where mighty dames their potent arts prepared and sent their whizzing spears. And you were probably sitting there thinking, she's finally lost the plot. No, I haven't. Honestly, trust me. And that is exactly what this introduction is saying. If you have somebody come in to perform a spell over you, if this is what you're doing, what do they want? Well, it's like what we've just had here is like saying, trust me, I've done this before. Or trust me, I've seen a video about how to do this on YouTube. Oh, you'd be surprised the number of people who did that with DIY and stuff. Oh, yes, I can rewire the house. I've seen it on YouTube. Well, possibly not the best way to do it, but still. And there's a wonderful sense of power in this spell. There's so much in here that you're sort of saying, trust me, I've done it before. And there's this wonderful bit where it says, now shields thyself, that thou this onslaught may survive. And you think that is so brilliantly full of it, isn't it? I mean, the poor person, whoever it is, who's sitting there doubled up in pain, and the magician or leech is saying to them, now shield thyself, that thou this onslaught may survive. It's just brilliant. And there are other things, the spears that were flying, Well, the spears are what was believed to be causing the pain. What do we say? A sharp stabbing pain. Or sometimes, I know when I had pleurisy many years ago, I felt like somebody chucked a spear and caught me just under the shoulder blades. Same sort of thing. We do often compare illness and sickness and sudden pain. We do actually compare it to weapons. And this is exactly what's happening here, only amongst people who probably had more first-hand experience of weapons than we do. And there's this bit about where mighty dames their potent arts prepared. Now, what were the mighty dames? Well, could have been the Valkyrie, the women who flew over the battlefield, choosing who was going to survive and who wasn't. But there's one last little bit I'll leave you with, because it really is a very, very useful thing to know about magic. In the original Anglo-Saxon Old English, in the text, it says, ut little spear, out little spear, ut. And it was one of the very first magical words I ever learned, ut. ut. And you know, it's worth trying. If you've got to get rid of something, ut, you give it a try. I remember giving a talk on this once and people were trying it out on wasps. Who knows? For some people it might have worked. It always stuck with me. It's always one of those things. Ut. One of the great magical words. So there we are. I've passed it on. I hope you have fun with it. And thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.